What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Snug Wrestling Podcast. No less than 24 hours later, we're coming to you live once again for Monday Night Raw after Clash in Paris. They stayed in Paris, and this is the last European tour for the next few months because, God, I'm so glad that they're going back to regular time. Today has been such a weird day. Monday Night Raw was like in the morning time for me, and then I didn't get to watch it until later. And then it turns out that they're going to go back to Europe again the beginning of 2026. So we got that to look forward to. But yeah, we're going to talk about the fallout from Clash in Paris. What happened after Clash in Paris? Because we had a lot of questions like what's going to happen with Becky Lynch. We're getting ready for Wrestlepalooza and Intercontinental Championship match. So all these things we're going to be going over tonight with the Snug Wrestling crew, Mr. Blood and Tommy. What's going on, fellas? How y'all feeling?
Feeling pretty great. Wasn't exactly thrilled to see that they're doing the European tour again in about 3 months, or a little over 3 months, because look, European crowds are great. They are amazing, and I honestly feel spoiled for how great these crowds are when they do these tours. And I know that those audiences feel spoiled, right? Because it's such a starved market over there. They have wrestling, but they're more indie style wrestling promotions scattered throughout Europe and the UK. But as great as these crowds are, as much as they elevate matches that would barely get a whisper over here in the States, the timing that they set these on for us, for viewing pleasure is not really conducive nor cohesive when you are professional wrestling podcasters and content creators. It's a little jarring to be like, oh yeah, that show was at 10 a.m. Oh, hey, no, it's still on until 4 in the afternoon. And then you got to wait half an hour for a replay. And then you can start watching it. Then you got to plan the podcast show. And you do that for 2 weeks. And it's like, can we just get back to the regular times? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, thank God they're back in Chicago Saturday, because Jesus, Lord have mercy.
Yeah, and we're gonna have to kind of like plan our schedules for when they do go back in Europe, but also this September they're doing a bunch of shows. They're gonna have Wrestlepalooza September 20th, and also Worlds Collide September 12th, which is on Friday night right after SmackDown. So usually oh, see, there you go. So usually, we're going to have to figure that out too, because we go live after SmackDown, right after SmackDown, but I'm going to have to watch fucking Worlds Collide. So we're going to have to figure out what we're going to do about that too. So this month of September is going to be busy.
For those of you who don't know, Snug Wrestling, we also now have a Spanish reviewing portion of this of our product here, that's led by Edgar and another wrestling associate of Edgar, and they do the entire show completely in Spanish. For those of you that are interested in Spanish speaking wrestling, who really love like AAA, who love that type of broadcasting, or maybe English isn't your first language. So anybody, and we have a lot of viewers of this podcast in different countries, a lot of Spanish speaking countries that we've come to find out in the recent months. So if that is something you're interested in, remember, on our Apple and Spotify, you can view and listen to completely in Spanish show reviews now, led by Edgar, the host of Snug Wrestling.
Thanks, Mr. Blood. So the September 12th is your birthday, right? Do you have any plans for your birthday? Do you plan on watching wrestling on the day of your birth?
Probably not, because my best friend Bryce and I have a tradition every year on his birthday and my birthday. We take the other out for hibachi and sushi, and we've done that for years. And it's a Friday night, so it's usually a double date, his girlfriend and him and me and my wife. So I'll probably be out getting hibachi and sushi on that Friday night, because it's very rare that my birthday's ever on a weekend.
Yeah. So then, because I do plan to review Worlds Collide in Spanish, but I would also like to do it in English too. The more content, the better, or whatever. But if you're going to be out, I don't know, Tommy, if you're down to review Worlds Collide with me in English.
Too, because it'll be.
I'm definitely down to do that.
Yeah, Toxic will be there. Can because Toxic's got his school responsibilities on the beginning of the week. Weekends like Fridays, he can definitely join in. So at least you'll still have a 3-man crew.
So definitely be on the lookout for that. We got Worlds Collide content come in. We got Wrestlepalooza predictions and reviews come in, and so much stuff. Man, we are like drowning in fucking content in the Snug Wrestling world. Like we got the Blood Drop segments with Mr. Blood where he reports the news and wrestling and gives us his unfiltered thoughts. We got Spanish content. We got AEW stuff. We got reviews for Raw and SmackDown and the PLEs and all everything and anything when it comes to pro wrestling. We got it all here, y'all.
I don't think there's another wrestling podcast out there that sits in the top 250, by the way, in the country, that does as much wrestling content as we do. And no, that was not a humble brag. I'm rubbing that shit in because we've earned the right to. So as far as it's concerned, if you like your wrestling content and you want it in motherfucking spades, Snug Wrestling is the place to fucking get it.
That's right. But for tonight, we're going to be talking about Monday Night Raw. And I'm pretty sure they were in La Défense Arena in Paris. I believe this was the same arena that they did Clash in Paris, if I'm not mistaken.
The exact same one. They were in Lyon, France, which is a portion of Paris. So, yeah.
Yeah, so the fucking thing was sold out 2 nights in a row. And it was crazy to see at least 20,000 fans in one arena for a Monday Night Raw. And the atmosphere was insane. It was a crazy thing to see all those fans going crazy for a random Monday Night Raw. And it started with Jey Uso. And man, you know, the people love Jey Uso. So that place exploded. Everyone was yeeting. Jey Uso was yeeting up until Jey Uso got to the ring. He was a very, very different Jey Uso. He's like, you know what? I'm not going to run it back this time, because I should be standing here with the world heavyweight title. Instead, I got fucking bandages around my waist instead of a championship. So Jey Uso's demeanor was very different tonight. And he was wearing all black, and you know, he was like, y'all took my cousin out. Y'all, I don't play with my family. And he calls out the Vision, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, to get your asses out here. But instead he got LA Knight. So LA Knight still got some type of, he's still feeling some type of way after the Fatal 4-Way match. But then we finally get the Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker to come out. They have a nice little promo segment back and forth. They got a lot of heat. The Vision did, especially after the attack on Roman Reigns. And that set up the main event tag team match, Jey Uso, LA Knight versus Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. Awesome way to start off the show, I thought, and I was really excited to see these four mingle with one another. But thoughts on that, guys?
Yeah, I love this opening of the show. You know, again, we got a much more serious Jey Uso. You know, he's like, maybe I should have listened to Roman Reigns and not stuck my business, or, you know, should have looked out for me. But at the same time, like, listening to his advice would have meant me also not helping him. So there was confliction in Jey. And I thought that was really well told. Like, you know, Roman gave him advice last week. Focus on you. Don't listen to what anybody else says. Don't trust anybody else. But I wonder if Jey wonders, does that include you too? You know, but it's my family, Jey says. You know me. I don't mess around about my family. Don't talk about my family. You don't touch my family. You know, like, I like this version of Jey when we get him, because that's when you know he ain't fucking around. And we know this from the bloodline. Jey, at the end of the day, in his core, he has that hothead, explosive temper mentality. He is a Samoan. You know, these are very hot-blooded, you know, peoples. And, you know, as a fellow Polynesian myself, I can attest to that being real, scripted or unscripted. Most Polynesians, we are very, very, very short-fused people. But as far as it's concerned, again, I love that we also got LA Knight and Jey. The chemistry between those guys, it just works. There's something about that. There's an energy between them. And LA Knight pointed out some great stuff that I mentioned last night when it was my turn to go and we talked about that match, was that a lot of that match, they could have been done with Seth several fucking times, but Jay just kept doing Jay. And Jay, unfortunately, listening to Roman's advice and just doing Jay, fucked them all last night several times. I believe 3. From the table to the BFT, then he breaks up the pin to getting able to hit the superstar elbow through the table, stopped again. And it's like, dude, at this point, it doesn't matter which one of us is champion. It just wouldn't have been Seth. You're missing the point. You're not understanding, says LA Knight. And I thought that was a really great point. Then we got Braun and Bronson. And what I think is a continuously great thing that they're doing. They have stopped just letting Paul Heyman be their mouthpiece, stopped making them background players, stopped dragging them out with Seth. These guys are getting to show their personalities. They are getting to cut promos on the mic. And this is where it's sink or swim, right? Can you do it or can you not? And I thought tonight, these two cut very, very, very good promos. Are they the best of all time? No, but I believe them. I believe what they're saying. I'm buying in, and I loved the energy they're bringing, the intensity they're bringing. These two are great as a unit together. I love it, and it set up the main event. Holla, holla, tag team playa. So I like where this is going. The more these guys get to prove whom they are on their own, the better.
Yeah, completely agree. I absolutely love this opener. Although I probably wouldn't have put the tag at main event, as great of a match it was. I probably would not have put that at main event, but we will talk about that in the one I would have substituted it for later on. But this whole thing, yeah, they have stopped letting good old Paul Heyman be their speaker, because that's exactly what he is. But this whole thing, I look at it, I'm just like, yes, let Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker cut their own promos. They can do it. They have proved time and time and time again that they can cut fantastic promos when given the chance. All you have to do is give them that chance. And with Heyman right next to him, they don't exactly get that chance to do that. Now, when it comes to good old Jey Uso and LA Knight, again, those two, fantastic chemistry. It just works. It truly does. And I love it when those two are together. Because that tag team, again, we'll get to it later, but those two worked perfectly. The chemistry between these two are phenomenal.
Yeah, the yeah tag team. Yeah, it was a great way to kick off the show here. The first official match of the night was Roxanne and Raquel Rodriguez versus the Kabuki Warriors. We saw a lot of the Kabuki Warriors on this episode of Monday Night Raw. I mean, a lot. And it was some weird stuff, to be honest. Like, the conversation that the Kabuki Warriors have, it's kind of, I don't know if it's like stereotypical, but like, that's not really how Japanese people talk to each other, right? It's very like, I don't know, weird. I can't explain it, but Asuka was like, she was being very controlling again, very territorial, you know, with Io Sky and like even Kairi Sane, like, you know, dragging her along with her every time Kairi Sane would stay in the picture. Asuka would walk away, and then Asuka would be like, Kairi. And then Kairi Sane would like get scared and then like walk to Asuka. It was weird. Even Michael Cole was like, this is the strangest thing. So yeah, man, very weird stuff. But the Kabuki Warriors were over in Paris, man. They were so happy to see these two wrestle. Kairi Sane was over, Asuka was over. And I was really surprised by that because I can't remember the last time we seen a tag team match with the Kabuki Warriors, but I guess you can leave them off TV and the people are still going to love them no matter what. And the match wasn't terrible. Asuka got the pin on Roxanne Perez after a very odd finish to this match. It was a pretty weird finish. I don't think that's what the plan was going to be, how this match ended. It looked like a botch that they were trying to recover of some sort, but not a bad way, not a bad match. I thought it was good for what it was, but what did you guys see here?
So I'm very, very, very well versed in Japanese culture. I spent a lot of time studying Japanese culture. I've got a lot of Japanese friends, and I'm a black belt in Japanese martial arts, Shotokan. So I've been around a lot of Japanese people. It's not that it's weird. So Japanese people in general are very, very old school in a lot of sense, where many older generations of Japanese people do not like outsiders. They like to keep to themselves. They don't like foreigners in their country unless you're visiting. And if you live there, they typically don't try to make friends with you. So it's actually pretty on brand for Japanese people, though Kairi is of that middle generation where she's a bit more accepting. So she wants to be more, Switzerland. Like, I don't want us to fight. I want us to be friends. So whenever this turn happens, I don't think Kairi's turning heel. I think Asuka's turning heel. Kairi's going to try to play peacemaker, but she's going to side with Io because she keeps apologizing to Io, keeps trying to let Io know it's all going to be okay. And then she's getting barked at by Asuka. What's odd to me about this entire thing is that, make up your mind. Asuka, are you angry that Rhea is involving herself in your business? Because newsflash, Rhea did not involve herself last week. She was in the match and Io involved herself. Okay. So how are you angry at Io? I told Rhea to stay out of our business. Io got in Rhea's business. So, some of that's confusing, the way that it's written and portrayed. They need to clean it up. Much like this match, I thought the majority, like 90% of this match, I thought was really good. Crowd was insane. Remember, like I said just a few moments ago, that you go to a European crowd, they're so starved for that in their marketplace that they'll take a match that would barely get a whisper in the States and they'll elevate that shit. And that's what happened here. There was definitely a botch at the end, but I think it was definitely Roxanne's fault. Roxanne looked like she was supposed to take Asuka's flying rear end attack, where she runs, jumps, and hits you straight with her ass in your stomach or your chest. And Roxanne was not set up for it. She was out of position. That confused them both. She tried to go for like a pin. They communicated. She got confused, stopped going for a pin, then said, fuck it, Asuka lock, tap out. Like it was a very odd finish, which sucks because I thought the match was very cohesive throughout the majority of it. I love that the audience gives these ladies their due, specifically Kairi, whom I feel like never gets the fanfare she deserves, because she is really fucking good, Kairi Sane. You just wouldn't know it because a lot of her matches, she's never allowed to be in control as the opponent. But she is incredible. Asuka, it's Asuka. She's a GOAT, obviously, and she's a rock star in Japan. I'm fine with this. We just need some of these plot threads cleared up a little bit for understanding. The match was decent. The finish kind of fucked it up. Didn't ruin the whole match, but definitely could have been a tighter finish there. So chalk it at the miscommunication.
Yeah, it definitely felt like Roxanne was just there. Like at that ending, she's just like, oh, fuck, I forgot to hit this. I forgot to take this. Well, time for me to tap out now. Like, that's what that ending felt like, in my opinion there. But with what's happening with Kairi and Asuka and Io, I look at that and I'm just like, why are y'all putting Kairi in the middle of this? She looks so uncomfortable through all this. Like, especially with the fact that she's apologizing to both Io and Rhea for everything that Asuka's doing. Like, Asuka, I get it. You are a veteran in all of this. I get that. But you are clearly making Kairi Sane a little bit uncomfortable here, trying to even out everything you're doing. So I look at this, I'm like, Asuka, you're great. There's no doubt about it. You are one of the GOATs. There's no doubt about that. As it says in your theme, no one is ready for Asuka. You even said that to Rhea tonight. I get that. but at the same time, you need to be less clingy with Io, because that's her problem. If she is extremely clingy to Io Sky, along with apparently extremely protective over her, which kind of confuses me there, because Io could absolutely handle herself to the point where she has a world title match here in a couple weeks going up against Stephanie Vaquer. So that whole thing, real excited for that match. But Io is fine. Asuka just needs to hold herself back a little bit when it comes to all of this.
Yeah, everyone was really excited to see the Kabuki Warriors, Kairi Sane, and Asuka, but I thought Roxanne was the one that was carrying this entire match, in my opinion. I thought she was the one that really was working her ass off. It was mostly Raquel, from what I remember, she didn't really get a lot in of her stuff in this match. Again, it was mostly Roxanne. That's who stood out to me the most in this entire thing. And I'm starting to enjoy seeing Roxanne work more and more, which is odd because I'm never was really big on her, but I thought she did really good tonight. So yeah, I thought that was really interesting. But thanks, Tommy, for spoiling it. You couldn't help yourself. But we're gonna talk about the big announcement of Adam Pearce. We finally got an answer of what's going to happen with the Women's World Championship that we were supposed to get at Clash in Paris. It was supposed to be Stephanie Vaquer versus Naomi. And it turns out that they decided to go with the championship match for the vacant Women's World title. Stephanie Vaquer, since she is the number one contender, she's going to be still getting her shot versus Io Sky. And the reason for that is Io Sky and Naomi were set to have a championship match on a Monday Night Raw a few weeks back. It was the same Raw that Naomi made her announcement of her pregnancy, that she had to relinquish the title. That match didn't happen. So, because this is according to Adam Pearce, both of these women were owed a title match. Well, let's just put both of these women together at a match at Wrestlepalooza. So we're going to be getting Stephanie Vaquer versus Io Sky. Tommy, you couldn't wait and help yourself. You're excited for this, we know. But what about you, Blood? How are you feeling this announcement?
It makes sense. I'm glad that this didn't part of me's like really glad it didn't turn into a, well, Stephanie Vaquer, now, you're going to be in a number one contenders series. Now instead of this being a contendership match, it's just the winner is the champion. Although keep in mind, I did say last week that they wasted a lot of time here on this, because at the time that Naomi had vacated it completely to the following week where they were like, we're going to find out what we're doing with this title to then Clash in Paris. We still could have had this match at Clash in Paris. It could have just been a tournament spread across two different Monday Night Raws. It was that simple. So you could have had a couple. Because remember, we talked about this last week. There were matches on that Raw that did not need to be there, that were massive time wasters, that we all felt were like, what the fuck is this? We could have fit tournament matches into last week's Monday Night Raw. And the week before that could have started as well. So I feel like, and then we could have had this match at Clash in Paris as advertised, and it could have replaced Becky Lynch versus fucking Nikki Bella. So and we would have actually had a great women's match on the show. But as far as it's concerned, we're moving it over to Wrestlepalooza because we got to fill up that card. I don't even know if I'm watching that show live. I'm not paying $30 for ESPN. So as far as, it's concerned, I'm glad it's happening. Although I'm really aggravated too that we haven't had Stephanie Vaquer have a match on fucking Monday Night Raw, and I want to say right over a month. So sometimes I'm forgetting about her. I'm forgetting she's on the brand because they're not featuring her. They're like, by the way, remember, here's one quick backstage segment where Stephanie's like, what's going on with my match? Gone. runs into Nikki Bella. Hi, I love you so much. I'm a big fan of yours. Bye. Okay, bro, like, you have not had a match on main roster television since July. We just hit September 1st. So, like, I keep forgetting she's important. You should be having her out there cutting promos. Like, something. Keep her fresh in people's minds. They love her. She's a commodity, but she needs to be featured more so people remember why they're cheering for her in the first place.
In my defense, I didn't think we were talking about this. Just gonna put that out there, Snug. My defense, I didn't think you were gonna bring this up, which is why I myself brought it up. But I do completely agree that Stephanie Vaquer is really underused right now. Like, the fact that she hasn't really cut any promos, she hasn't done anything in ring in like a month. So what the hell is going on? Use Stephanie Vaquer more. It's very clear that she is a great in-ring talent. There is no doubt about that. There's a reason why Booker T was obsessed with her. Just saying. Not in that way.
There's two reasons.
Yeah, there's more than one, but the point here still stands. There was still a reason, at least. But I look at this, I'm like, use her more. But the fact that she's going up against Io Sky, two women that I know for a fact really deserve this, and this is like a close second biggest match. Honestly, it would have been better if it was Rhea, because those two would have been great to go head-to-head, which I still have a feeling they will go head-to-head at some point. But this match with Io, I'm actually excited for it. It is the Genius of the Sky versus La Primera. Put those suckers together. That's a fantastic match on paper. So let's see if they actually pull the trigger, and let's see if it's actually a good one.
My thing is that you see how these crowds are, right? The European crowds. This match, Io versus Vaquer, deserved the French crowd. Think about that. You've seen how these crowds have gone. Imagine the reaction these two wrestling would have gotten last night. It would have been off the fucking charts. You want a meter to go by to see if something's working or not? That's the crowd to do it in front of. I mean, it would have been a massive moment for Stephanie Vaquer, especially if she wins. And I'm hoping she does, because I love Io. I don't need her to hold the title again this year. So we'll have to wait and see. But Wrestlepalooza, I guess we're going to see then what happens.
Yeah, it pisses me off that we didn't get to see Stephanie Vaquer in Clash in Paris. I was looking forward to that. I'm like, man, what a moment! Especially if Stephanie Vaquer wins in that crowd,
Roof would have been off the building.
But instead, we got Nikki fucking Bella versus Becky fucking Lynch.
But come on, that was a 5-star classic, and you know it.
Yeah, my ass.
But I look at like the whole crowd thing. And without commercials for today, there was an entire commercial break for AJ Styles where it was just nothing but them singing his name over and over and over again. And I feel like if they put Stephanie Vaquer at Clash in Paris last night, it would have been that times 10.
It would have been a star-making moment for her. It would have been the perfect time to really... You talk about strapping a rocket to someone's back. AJ Styles got a 5-minute fucking ovation tonight. Could you imagine Stephanie winning her first ever main roster world title? Like, holy fucking shit. They would have to literally shut the building down. They would have had to hold Monday Night Raw somewhere else because the roof would have been gone.
Yeah, like, the homie Eric Padilla from the SDM podcast, when we were talking about this in Snug in Espanol, he was like, yeah, Stephanie Vaquer, she's not going to be in Paris. This was before we knew that she wasn't going to actually perform at Clash in Paris. And I'm like, nah, dude, there's no way they're going to fucking pull Stephanie Vaquer off of that fucking card, man. That would be such a fucking waste, you know? And then they fucking pulled her from the card, and I'm like, God damn. Like, are you fucking kidding me? It just didn't make
They
sense
had
to
to
me,
save a
man.
seat for Nikki Bella on the charter flight.
So ridiculous. Anyway, let's move on here. Yeah, we're going to be doing predictions for that match and Wrestlepalooza here in a couple weeks. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to hear what you guys think is going to happen in that match. The next match was Finn Balor versus Dragon Lee singles competition. And man, Dragon Lee made Finn Balor work tonight, man. This was not like the match that Finn Balor had versus AJ Styles. Like the match that Finn Balor had versus AJ Styles was a walk in the park compared to this. This was a lot more high flying, a lot more high intense. The pacing, they picked it up a lot. And Dragon Lee made Finn Balor work, and it was a great match. It was an exciting match. Finn Balor won with his double stomp from the top rope. Thanks to the interference by JD Madonna, but Dragon Lee still, he got his shit in. He looked great tonight, but it makes sense that Finn Balor picked up the win here. What did you guys think about this match?
I thought this match was absolutely fantastic. When I was watching it, first thing I thought was, the match he was supposed to have with AJ. And then Dragon Lee, again, you're talking about a match that in the States would have gotten a whimper of a reaction compared to what they got tonight with the match here in Paris. That's the thing. I really feel like European crowds are a barometer for what works and what doesn't. Because even though it's a starved market, they will tell you just how much they love someone and how much more they love someone else. Tonight, they loved Finn. Tonight, they loved Dragon Lee. And man, these guys didn't miss a beat tonight. This match was high octane as shit. Not a misstep, not a mistake. Everything worked great. We still got the interference and surprise from El Grande Americano, aka Ludwig Kaiser. Also wondering at what point we just decided to drop the storyline that there's like a bunch of other El Grande Americanos, because
That was a different match.
even then, I thought
That
he
was
was
Dom.
Oh, that was Dom. You're right. Sorry about that. But this match was it was JD McDonough, I think, that caused the distraction. Dragon Lee was about to hit him with a double stomp while he was hanging in the tree of woe. He used his core strength, came up, grabbed the back of the mask, and yanked his ass off the top rope, and then hit him with the coup de grace. But this literally, I think, probably the best in-ring match tonight, like work rate match tonight. This might be the one. Stellar, absolutely stellar. And here's the thing. Remember, they keep touting Dragon Lee as the future of Lucha Libre. He was touted by Rey Mysterio as the future of Lucha Libre. He's the next Rey Mysterio. This is the kind of match that I would believe that. If you had booked him consistently over the last 3 years, I would fucking believe that. I would buy that in a heartbeat if crowds reacted to him like this all the time, the way they reacted to him tonight.
Yeah, like I still feel like good old Dragon Lee is underrated right now, honestly, in my opinion. I feel like he deserves more love than he gets. Then again, as we've been saying, he's been getting way too much damn pressure being put out as the next Rey Mysterio. Like that in itself, as we've said time and time and time again, that is massive pressure for a single guy. Like that is the amount of pressure that should not be on one man alone. And unfortunately, it is. But this match, it made both men look good, and the crowd definitely said, hey, we care about both of these men. One a little bit more than the other, but we still care about both of them. Put them on more. So I absolutely had fun with the match itself. I just wish that Dragon Lee actually had more love than he actually gets. Because as I've said, he is a bit underrated.
Yeah, and I'm glad too that WWE is letting Dragon Lee really show his potential and show what he can do. Unlike a lot of the stars that we've been complaining about, like JC Mateo and like Kiana James and Carmelo Hayes. Some of these guys and girls seem to be like not held down, but like don't go out there and show us everything that you can do. But they're giving Dragon Lee some space, some room to really show his potential, and he showed it tonight versus Finn Balor. Finn Balor had to work to get this win, man. It was a great match. Probably one of the best matches of the night for sure. Up next, we had a 6-man tag team match. The New Day with Grayson Waller versus Penta and the War Raiders. I know Penta's been feuding with the New Day for a while, and obviously there are 3 guys, including Grayson Waller. So it's just like, oh, let's just throw the War Raiders in there and let's have a 6-man. Where the hell have the War Raiders been? Like, I just, why should we care about them now? They just got, it's just, am I missing something here? Because it just seems they just got thrown in there with Penta for no reason. And it's just like, the people in France are really happy to see the War Raiders, but I'm like, there's got to be a reason why they put them in France before coming back to the States, because if they put him with Penta in the States, I don't think anyone would have cared in that arena. But Penta and the War Raiders won. The match got crazy from the jump, and Penta, you're my guy. And I like Grayson Waller, but I wasn't too invested in this one.
Here's the thing. The War Raiders had so much fanfare towards the beginning of spring this year. They have like come back, repackaged. They dropped the Viking thing at the time. And it was like, hey, we'll see you for a few weeks. They used them, feud with the New Day or whomever the fuck they were fighting with. Disappeared off TV. I'm not going to lie to you. I forgot they were working for this company. Which sucks because they were extremely talented, especially Ivar. Ivar is heavily fucking slept on. I still to this day do remember 2 years ago his one-on-one match when Eric went out with that injury against Kofi Kingston on Monday Night Raw in one of the most surprising best matches I remember watching that year was literally fucking Ivar versus Kofi Kingston. But genuinely, I didn't watch this match. You see, old Uncle Blood don't give a fuck about this feud. Old Uncle Blood is sick and tired of the New Day's gimmick being wasted on the New Day when it should be utilized to get Grayson Waller over. Uncle Blood made Cajun for dinner. And Uncle Blood got bubble guts when this match entrance started, and Uncle Blood took a vacation to the restroom the entirety of this match and did not come back out until AJ Styles was making his entrance. So that's what happens when you eat spicy food and you turn 31 years old, people. So yeah, this match and this feud probably equate to what I did in that restroom.
Pretty much, yeah, you're not wrong. This was not a good match. I feel like the only reason why the War Raiders were shoved in there is because of the fact that that is who the New Day beat for those tag titles at Mania. I feel like that's it. Because other than that, they haven't done shit. Like, War Raiders have done nothing for a hot minute. I honestly wish that War Raiders, again, was shown more. But the problem is, I don't want them on Raw because I feel like SmackDown is so much more desperate for shit. So, you want to spice SmackDown up? Send War Raiders over there. Please, use them. But other than that, this match was straight dog shit. It was not good. I feel like this was the worst match of the night, if I'm being completely honest. And that is coming from a Penta match. So this whole thing, just please drop the fucking gimmick with the New Day, because it's only making them worse. It's only dragging them down. Get rid of the whole morning shtick and just put them back to normal.
Yeah, it just kind of felt like, hey, let's put the War Raiders with Penta and maybe people will actually give a fuck. So they're like using Penta to get the War Raiders over. That's what it seemed like to me, but
They would have kept caring about the War Raiders had they kept them on fucking TV, because there'd be consistency. Fans would not have forgotten about them. I guarantee you, not a single person, there was 23,000 people there tonight. Not a single person in that arena got up that morning and said, God, I can't wait for Monday Night Raw tonight. Really hope I get to see Eric and Ivar. You know why? Because I guarantee you, everybody who's in that fucking crowd forgot Eric and Ivar worked for WWE and forgot they were on Monday Night Raw because they haven't seen them on TV in like 2.5 fucking months.
yeah. All right, the next match, I completely forgot we were going to be getting an Intercontinental Championship match with AJ Styles versus Dominic Mysterio. And I went from, this match, the 6-man tag match kind of brought me down here. And I remembered, I'm like, holy shit, tonight is a night that we're going to see AJ Styles versus Dominic Mysterio finally, after weeks and weeks and weeks of, we're going to get it now. And then they would postpone it. When is it going to happen? We don't know. Is it going to happen at Clash in Paris? No, it's going to happen on Raw after Paris. So we're finally going to get it. And I was so excited for this. And, Tommy talked about it. The fucking fans were singing to AJ Styles nonstop for like 5 or 10 minutes straight or whatever, however long it was. It was lovely. Dominic Mysterio comes out with all his greatness, the best Intercontinental Champion of all time. And I just got to say how much Dominic Mysterio has grown, because in the last year, I would not in a million years say Dominic Mysterio is going to be so good one day that he's going to go toe-to-toe, blow for blow versus AJ Styles. And he did. It was mostly Dom in control of AJ Styles, and AJ Styles was like getting his ass beat most part of the match, but the beginning of the match started great. The fans were singing to AJ Styles, and then before the bell rang, Dominic Mysterio just attacks AJ Styles, and everyone went from being all happy to like, oh, boo. And I wrote genius. Dom, that was such a genius move to get a lot of heat on Dom, and the heat started from the beginning of the match. It was fucking amazing. The entire match was great. Then this is where we saw El Grande Americano show up, and this is what Dom and Grande Americano have been planning all along the past few weeks. We've been seeing them backstage, talking, having these conversations. So are we going to add El Grande Americano to the Judgment Day? I say do it. Do it. But thanks to El Grande Americano, Dom retains the Intercontinental Championship and defeated AJ Styles.
I really, really like this match. I 100% agree with your sentiments on Dom specifically. I've said this a million times this year. I know I'm not the only one who says it, and I'm not just the one saying that. Sports Illustrated also says it. But literally, Dominic Mysterio has probably become the most natural heel of his entire generation. And I don't even think it's close. He is so easy to hate, but you hate him because it's weird, right? You hate him because he's greasy and slimy, but he's cool while he does it. Relaxed, laid back. He is everything great about Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero rolled into one, and it just works. And he does it so effortlessly that I genuinely cannot wait that in 8 years time, 10 years time, when he's considered a veteran, where he will be in his career, whether it be a massive heel or a baby face, he has got a lot of stock in the future of this company. And I think the company has a lot of stock in his future with them in tandem. He's excellent. He's so good. And hats off to him, really. From when Brock Lesnar beat the fuck out of him like 7 years ago to today, it's like night and day with the performer. So hats off to him. He deserves the flowers, and he deserves to be Intercontinental Champion. And AJ Styles, speaking of deserved that ovation he got tonight, because this is the last contract he is signing with WWE. He states that he will not sign another one after this. He's going to retire. He's almost 50 years old. And if you're trying to make memories on your way out, right, having a crowd give you an ovation like that, one hell of a memory in the closing chapters of your career, I think. This match was great. I love that Dom was in control. I love that AJ sold his ass off for him. It's really, I don't really have anything to pick out about this match. It's a great match. I think it was definitely even better than their last one too. So that's also a bonus. Dom's consistently an intelligent heel. AJ is consistently a fight from underneath babyface, and it works. I don't know if they have another match from here. I don't know if this feud continues. I kind of want AJ to move on. Selfishly, I want AJ to move on so we can get AJ versus John Cena at some point in these last 8 dates, and of which one of them, I believe he's in Chicago this Friday, John Cena. So now make that 7. But as far as it's concerned, the El Grande Americano thing is the only thing that confuses me, and not that I hate it. I enjoy it because I love Ludwig Kaiser, and I love he's doing his absolute most with this. But I feel like they've already dropped the multi El Grande thing. I haven't seen multiple El Grandes in a while. We haven't brought them up. Chad's still out on injury. We don't know whom the other ones are. So if they're continuing this, fine. But the last couple of weeks, they've really mostly just highlighted them trying to get Ludwig Kaiser's El Grande into Judgment Day. And that's really where they've pushed the story. So I'm excited to see what they do next, but I want some clarity on this.
Yeah, they've done the multi El Grande thing, I believe, like twice or 3 times. So I look at that, I'm like, okay, clearly you've learned that the multiple end of things with El Grande doesn't work. This is not Doink the Clown anymore. So it don't work like Doink did. So this match, it was fun. I would say that this is either match of the night or a very close second. Like a very close second. Mainly because of the fact that, as Blood said, this is actually better than their last one. They have done nothing but grow since the last match that they've had. And Dom is absolutely phenomenal. He has grown so damn much from when he was first with Rey Mysterio and that tag team. He has grown so much since then. And the way he does things, especially how it was tonight, it was absolutely phenomenal. It was perfect. The way everything laid out, the way everything was planned out, I can't pick out a single bad thing about this match because it was that damn good. So props to both AJ and Dom, because both of them sold the shit out of this match. This was definitely the match that put butts in seats, and it showed. It worked perfectly.
Yeah, everything. I agree with Tommy, man. From top to bottom, this was perfect. Even the finish made perfect sense. I mean, Dom's a heel, so it makes sense for him to beat someone like AJ Styles by cheating. So that protects AJ Styles. Dom is also going to be going up against Hijo del Vikingo at Worlds Collide for the AAA Mega Championship. So you got to put some wins on Dom heading to his big championship match. And, you involve El Grande Americano, who's also part of, that whole AAA scene, the luchadors and stuff. So I wonder if El Grande Americano is going to help Dom again at Worlds Collide. So I'm interested in that. The only thing about this match, though, that I got to point out was in that finish, and I don't know if this is how good Dom and AJ are, at what they do in the ring, but I'm pretty sure AJ Styles fucking dropped Dom right on his fucking head, giving him some type of brain buster or DDT. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, I did. I was immediately worried the moment it happened. That's a brain buster. AJ does it often. However, the way Dom landed, I was worried for a second until I saw the replay and realized that at the very, very, very last millisecond, AJ was very well aware of where Dom's head placement was, and he slightly turned his elbow inward, and he put his elbow down first, because when Dom went down, notice how he hit this way, but his whole body went that way and his legs went behind him. Mm-hmm. So very last second, AJ course corrected, which just tells you how great of a performer AJ is. He's a veteran. It's the same thing with James Ellsworth years ago. He went to hit the Styles Clash, and James Ellsworth, midway through the fall, he noticed Ellsworth's chin was tucked the wrong way, which can break your neck with that move if you don't do it this way. And he put his knees down just in time and saved Ellsworth's life mid-move. And Ellsworth's talked about it on podcasts. AJ is just that good at being hyper aware of his opponent's well-being and just sings to the professionalism of him.
Yeah, I was so relieved to see Dom get back up, because they shot away from Dom right away to put the camera on Grande Americano. But I was like, oh no. I was like, this would be such bad luck if Dom goes out with an injury right now.
It was
of all fucking places,
For for the pun's sake of puns, it was snug.
Yeah. For real.
Yeah, in my opinion, this would have been the match I would have put at main event and not that tag match. I honestly would have switched those two.
I would have still put this match on last night. Anything but the Becky versus Nikki match. There were two matches tonight that could have been there, but this one, there were two matches that could have been there, one being Stephanie versus Io. But this one, if we couldn't get Stephanie versus Io, this match could have easily gone in slot number 2 last night.
Well, I mean, technically, it was the same arena with the same crazy-ass fans, so they got the same reaction.
Yeah, but PLE energy with and by the way, there was an extra 8,000 people there last night. So, this match, in my opinion, when you do a match like this, the amount of effort Dom has put in on that IC championship, the amount of effort they've both put in on this storyline triples the fucking work that Becky and Nikki put in on the IC last minute throw together hurrah bullshit. This match and the storyline deserved that spot.
Well, we got to talk about Becky again, because
I ain't upset about it though. You do your thing, but
I'm not either.
I loved this shit.
Well,
I'm not either.
Souls.
This shit worked.
It worked.
So CM Punk was waiting around the arena for Seth Rollins the entire night since the beginning of the show, because it was on site with CM Punk and Seth Rollins, right? There's only one way in the arena and one way out, and CM Punk was standing in that entrance. But then Adam Pearce shows up and he's like, oh yeah, Seth Rollins is here already. What? You guys said at the beginning of the show there's only one way in or one way out. How the fuck did Seth Rollins get in the building without CM Punk seeing him? We got no explanation. Okay. CM Punk has a great idea to go out to the ring, hijack the show, and say, I'm not going to leave. I don't care if we go off of air, but I'm staying my ass right here until Seth Rollins comes out. Right away, Seth music hits. And here comes Becky fucking Lynch doing the Seth Rollins walk down the ramp and laughing like Seth Rollins. And I'm like, here we go with this bullshit. And now, Mr. Blood, you're the big CM Punk fan here. You know mostly everything when it comes to CM Punk, right? So Becky Lynch comes out to the ring and she's like, oh, you're expecting the Seth Rollins, but you got the man instead. And then, CM Punk tells Becky Lynch exactly what I'm thinking. Look, this is in between. This has nothing to do with you. Stay out of our business. This is between me and Seth Rollins, and that's it. Unless you're gonna call your husband to come out here, I don't want nothing to do with you. And I'm like, thank you, Punk. You're fucking reading my fucking mind right now. No one wants to see her right now. I just want to see Seth and Punk, and that's it. None of this bullshit with Becky Lynch. All right, fine. Becky Lynch, like always, she fucking is trying her hardest to insert herself in this and make it all about her. When you left, it didn't just affect Seth Rollins, it affected me also. People were chanting your name during my matches. I'm like, bullshit. Okay? In order for that to happen, that would mean that people would actually have to chant and care for one of your matches, Becky, which I don't. I'm sorry. When the fuck were people chanting CM Punk for a Becky Lynch match? First of all, I call bullshit on that. Second of all, hold on. Second of all, this is about Seth and CM Punk, and Becky's over here trying to make it about herself, trying to insert herself in one of the best feuds in WWE, and she's ruining it for me. She's I'm starting not to care for fucking Seth Rollins and CM Punk anymore, and I hate to say that. And then, Seth Rollins comes out, and then Becky Lynch slaps CM Punk, and now it's starting to feel like more and more we're going to get AJ Lee. But fuck all of this. This is ruining one of the best feuds in WWE. Fuck this.
I gotta say, you're in the very small minority that feels that way, because a lot of people, especially the IWC and the people in the arena, have been begging for AJ Lee to return. But as far as it is also concerned, look, Becky's right. Because when Punk left, him leaving was such a distraction that at the time they chanted Punk's name through every single match that they could back then, to the point where even Stephanie McMahon on the mic said, he's not here. You're cheering for a guy who doesn't work anymore. He's a coward. He took his ball and went home. When he hit the UFC, she said, you guys, if you chanted for another so and so many seconds longer, you would chant longer than he lasted in his match in UFC this last weekend. It was like the CM Punk's name became the what chant at that point in time. Whenever the audience didn't like what they were seeing, whenever they were bored of the match they were watching, whenever they wanted something else, they would chant CM Punk to antagonize the people running the show. They chanted his name in so many fucking matches, to the point where wrestlers got online and tweeted the disrespect they felt, chanting someone who doesn't even work their name anymore during their match, their hard work. It was a regular thing. At one of the times he did that, Becky tweeted about it years ago. Like, we're talking over a decade ago. This actually happened. And she's right when she says, you think that just because you have a thing with him that it only affects one member of my family? Look, her husband is obsessed with him to the point of self-sabotage, anger, rage, a heel turn. It affects his whole home life, right? It affects how he interacts with his wife, his child. Obsession will do that to you. She's right. Punk's not the villain here. But she's right in saying that it does involve her, because when you're married, and this, Snug, you're married and I'm married. You are one with your spouse. So when they're hurt, you're hurt. When they're upset, you're upset. You feel their pain. So this obsession has gone beyond just Seth. It's affecting Becky too. And she's also cares about what her husband's dreams and aspirations are for this business, the business they both love so much. So yes, she inserts herself to make sure that his vision for what he wants for the company comes to fruition, because she's helping support her man's goals and aspirations, as a wife will do. So when it comes down to it, this is leading to AJ Lee returning. The reports are saying that they have been talking heavily in the writers' room about bringing AJ Lee back, even though AJ had given them a hard no several times over the last few years, to the point they stopped pitching it, but they've been pitching it heavily in recent weeks, according to reports from Sean Ross Sapp at Fightful Select. And they're in Chicago this Friday, and there is major talk that we're looking at an AJ Lee return this Friday night in Chicago. That is why when CM Punk asked Adam Pearce, hey, what city is SmackDown in this week? He goes, Chicago. CM Punk went, excellent. And he walked away because Punk looked right at her after she bitch slapped him 30 times. And boy is a better man than me because my hands are rated E for everyone, bro. I don't care if you're a woman. You put your hands on me like that, you hit me, he's better than me. I would have stone cold her ass. Everybody gets one. But man, he looked at her and said, I'm going to make your husband pay for what he did, and I'm going to make you pay for ever putting your hands on me. But he never said that he was going to put his hands on her.
Oh, yeah. This whole thing is leading to a goddamn AJ Lee return, and I am so happy that we are back, baby. This whole thing with Punk, it worked. It truly did, because she came out and it's just like, oh, wasn't the man you were expecting, eh? It wasn't the man you were expecting. Yes, I know, Blood. That is fucking horrendous. It's the best I could do under short circumstances.
I'm glad you said it.
I acknowledge when my impressions suck ass. So this whole thing, it worked. Because with Becky, she came out to Seth's music, and we were like, oh, like at first, we heard Seth, and we're like, okay, Seth is going to come out. And then we saw Becky, and we're like, oh, why the fuck are you here? Why are you here? And then she said that she wasn't the man that he was expecting. That's why. She was pulling the unexpected. The one thing that she knew would get under would get under Punk's skin. Everything involving Rollins gets under his skin so damn much, it's not even funny at this point. And when it comes to that, it just works. And then when he said that she's going to regret ever putting her hands on him, AJ's coming. It's only a matter of time. Hopefully we get her this Friday. AJ's coming back, and there's ain't no doubt about it at this point. And I'm telling you, when she comes back, screw how the arena was when Punk came back. When AJ comes back, it's going to be that times fucking 100. It's going to be absolutely insane.
The important thing to note here as to why it's also important Becky was here is that Seth knows just how angry Punk is. He wants to fight. He wants to physically hurt Seth. But Seth knows that I'm the architect. I'll beat you from in here. You want to hurt someone so bad. You want to hit someone so bad. Well, too bad. You're not going to put your hands on a girl, right? While she smacks you in the face and tells you everything I'm going to tell you, the difference is you can't hit her. So it's perfect mind games. Someone who thinks exactly like Seth in Punk's face, only he can't do anything about it. And he has to eat it and let it sit and gnaw at him like cancer. It's perfect. Character-wise, it just makes sense. Because that's what I would do if I'm a heel. You want to hurt me? Talk to my mouthpiece, because I know you won't touch them. Out walks a lady. What, are you going to hit a woman? Then you're the bad guy. And Seth knows that. He's trying to get Punk to do the thing that so Seth can go, I told you I was right. He is a parasite. He's dangerous. He'll even hurt a woman. And Seth knows that. It's perfect mind games. You may hate Becky, but it makes sense with Seth.
Yeah, I give you guys A for effort for trying to justify this crap. But hey, next time while we're at it, we can just fuck it, bring up Jada Parker to team up with Jey Uso next. How about that? Since we just love bringing up couples on fucking live TV.
They're not a couple.
But I mean,
Jey Uso's married.
Yeah, that's not what the internet is saying now. But
they were in the airport together signing autographs.
Whatever.
They
It doesn't
did the
matter.
same thing with
That's
Jey
not the
Uso
point.
and Rhea Ripley.
That's
on.
not the point. But the only thing that would make me care about this is not AJ Lee. I don't think she's coming because just for the sake of getting Becky Lynch away from one of the greatest feuds that we've seen in a long time, Seth Rollins versus CM Punk, I want it to be Rhea Ripley to come to CM Punk's defense. We saw Rhea Ripley and CM Punk have a backstage segment on this episode of Raw. That would be a great way to get Rhea Ripley in that women's intercontinental title picture, and I would love to see Rhea Ripley and Punk team up together. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. Not all this fucking fantasy booking with AJ Lee and blah,
But the
blah, blah.
problem is that
No.
Rhea's in her own feud. So
What feud is she in?
Kabuki Warriors. That's going to turn into a feud. She's literally.
It hasn't started yet.
Really? Asuka freaking out over Rhea, threatening Io to stay away from her constantly. Rhea
and Io Sky said, "I'm done with Rhea" on this episode of Monday Night Raw. And Io Sky is going to go face Stephanie Vaquer, and Rhea said, "Well, whoever wins, I'm going to go after that title." But they haven't had a match.
I feel like at this point it has to be AJ Lee or no one else, because even in the post show last night, Big E and Jackie Redmond name dropped AJ Lee, and they wouldn't have done that without WWE's approval. So, it's got to be AJ. And keep in mind, it'll be a one-off match, by the way, a one-off match at Wrestlepalooza, a non-major PLE, by the way. And then you can have AJ go off against Becky on their own. But we're going to get the one mixed tag match, but it's not going to be some bullshit, fucking sports entertainment match. It's going to be a wrestling match.
Yeah, we'll see about that. All right, talking about actual wrestling and not this fucking bullshit that we just covered. The main event was the tag team match, Jey Uso and LA Knight, a beat up Jey Uso and LA Knight versus Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. These two, LA Knight and Jey Uso, were still selling the damages from last night because they literally just wrestled no more than 24 hours ago. And they had to have another match versus Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, who after last night of Clash in Paris, they were standing looking really, really, really tall, really, really, really threatening and intimidating, and they continued their streak on this episode of Monday Night Raw, as they should, because I did not think that Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker were going to lose, especially after everything that they did last night at Clash in Paris, and they took out fucking LA Knight and Jey Uso and won. And they didn't stop there. They hit Jey Uso with a couple tsunami splashes after the match. LA Knight took a spear, and they were going to keep going until Jimmy Uso, out of nowhere from SmackDown, showed up with the steel chair. And when I saw that, I just can hear Mr. Blood's voice in my head saying, "War Games, it smells like War Games." And I thought that was interesting because wherever Jimmy Uso goes, Sami Zayn's pretty close by. Jacob Fatu's pretty close by. So I thought it was a pretty interesting way to close out this show for Monday Night Raw. But what do you guys think about all this?
So I hearken back to last night when I said that I definitely think Bronson Reed should have won against Roman. Not clean, with shenanigans, should have been interference, helped him win. But they almost make you forget that he lost last night because of everything that took place after the match. It almost doesn't even matter that he lost at that point because the end goal was accomplished. Take out Roman Reigns. So you get to tonight and you're like, okay, well, you have an injured Jey because of last night. You have a beat up LA Knight because of all the match that they had in the main event. And it makes sense to have Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed win. They're the right guys to go over. You got to keep them strong. It would have been the only person I could think of that would have booked them to lose tonight to the baby faces would have been Vince. After having a finish to the first opening match last night being the way it was, to then turn around the next night and have them fucking lose. That's some 50-50 booking that Vince would have done. So to have Braun Breaker get the pin here makes sense. I do wish Bronson Reed got the pin here to make up for the loss last night, but because he had the most hand dealt in taking out Roman Reigns, it's okay that Braun Breaker got some of that shine on him tonight. I love the match. It was great. I'd say I think it's third best match of the night, comfortably. But as far as it goes, it does what it needs to do. I'm confused as to why Jimmy Uso's here. Fuck the brand split, because I mean, legitimately, he's on SmackDown now. Okay. I thought, was he not just on SmackDown fighting, Jake or fucking Solo Sikoa alongside with Jacob Fatu, and now Sammy was over there, and now they were working together. Now Sammy's a champion. Did Jimmy Uso just go, fuck it, I guess I don't need the US title, let's go fuck back off to Raw? And it's just like, can we stop with these quiet brand movements? Because if Jimmy's here to help Jay, fine, he better stay here. Okay, keep him off of motherfucking SmackDown. He better stay over here. That's all I'm saying. Like, make it make sense. Don't just throw people around based on what the story needs to be. Because I find it funny that Naomi gets moved over to Raw when she wins the title, right? But Jimmy's stuck on SmackDown. Now that Naomi's gone, now Jimmy's on Raw. And it's just like, bro, y'all just kind of do shit. We know War Games is definitely after September. It's got to be October, November. It's always in mid to late fall, always. So if that's the case, we know Roman will be back in time because he'll be done filming Street Fighter because they wrote him off TV last night at the Clash in Paris so he could film in Australia for a fucking month. So in a month's time, it'll be October, and then we're building to War Games. What's the team going to be then? How big are these teams supposed to be? Because you're in my head canon goes, it's Roman Reigns, LA Knight, Jey Uso, CM Punk, and originally was Sami Zayn. So if Sammy's on SmackDown, okay, Jimmy Uso. There can't be no one else. Please keep it 5 to a side. But then my brain goes, fuck. Well, who's on Seth's side? Because you've only got 3.
Yeah, so this match, great match. Absolutely loved it. Oh, God. This whole thing, I am prepped. But it's what Jay said at the very, very end that's got me worried. He looks at Jimmy and just goes, I need you. I need you to do this. Like, what? Okay, does that mean he is number 4 or 5 for War Games?
No, what Jimmy said was, I need you. I need you. I can't do this by myself. I can't do this alone, is what he said. Yeah. I need you. I need you. And then Jimmy said, don't worry. I'm here. I'm here. So that means, I think that was him signaling, I can't handle them by myself anymore. I need you to be here with me on Raw.
Yeah, which makes me think the fear of them just going right back to a tag team, which I get it. That's what they're good at. That's what they're fantastic at. I get that. But I really, really want Jay and Jimmy to stay with their own thing. I don't want them tagging together again. It's like, I get it. They're fantastic as a tag team. Great. Phenomenal. But keep them doing their own things. They've been tagging for like 90% of their careers. Let them do their own thing with this. But I do wish as well that Bronson did get that pin. But we will see by the time War Games happens what in the world is going to happen with that. Because let's be honest, it is absolutely going to be the Vision against these random group of 5.
Right on. Well, that's what happened on Monday Night Raw this week after Clash in Paris, and we will be back again for another Snug review. I don't know if we're going to be doing Dynamite this week. We're doing one-on-one with Mr. Blood on Thursday. Friday, we got SmackDown. So, yeah, we'll probably get a couple blood drop segments probably this week. So, yeah, stay tuned for everything. Thanks for everyone that hung out with us today. Appreciate y'all. Mr. Blood, do the honors, please.
Well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Snug Wrestling. Thanks for kicking it with us. We appreciate every single one of you for tuning in. Don't forget, we're live every Monday and Friday night right after Raw and SmackDown go off the air on YouTube, Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it, and Facebook for live post-show reviews. And as a bonus for reaction content during the weekly WWE broadcasts on all of our socials. Then hang out with us every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern and 6 p.m. Pacific on TikTok Live, where myself, Mr. Blood, and the leader of Snug Wrestling, Edgar, that handsome Mexican over there, do our weekly one-on-ones where we dive into random wrestling topics and answer your questions. So follow Snug Wrestling on all social media platforms, as well as on Apple and Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. And until next time, stay safe, stay savage, and stay snug. And remember, for Toxic, our boy, that was one time for the one time. That was 4 letters. One word.
Yeah.
Yeah.